To officially start our meeting, Commissioner Batchelor, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on our agenda this morning is item B. This is approval of the regular session minutes of April 28th, 2021. Board, we received these minutes in advance. We've had time to review them. Are there any corrections or deletions?
None.
Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes. We have two proclamations this morning, and we'll start. Let me go to the podium. We'll get ready to present those this morning.
Holly.
On Zoom this morning, we should have Cindy Gramke and Chris Wick with us this morning from Senior Services. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have Senior Services and the library with us this morning, and this is a proclamation for the Older Americans Month in Clermont County, May 2021. Whereas Clermont County includes a growing number of older Americans who have built resilience and strength over their lives through successes and difficulties, and whereas Clermont County benefits when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds are included and encouraged to share their successes and stories of resilience, and whereas Clermont County recognizes our need to nurture ourselves, reinforce our strength, and continue to thrive in times of both joy and difficulty, and whereas Clermont County can foster communities of strength by creating opportunities to share stories and learn from each other, engaging older adults through education, recreation, and service, and encouraging people of all ages to celebrate connections. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2021 as Older Americans Month, and we urge every resident to recognize older adults and the people who support them as essential contributors to the strength of our community. This is signed by myself, Claire B. Corcoran, President, David L. Painter, Vice President, and Bonnie J. Batchelor, Member. And this morning we'd like to thank both of you for all that you do for our community and for your continuing care of our elder citizens. Commissioner Batchelor, would you like to say something this morning?
I absolutely would. Cindy knows how much I appreciate Senior Services, but I'd like to say something I've said for many years now myself. Remember, everyone, age is only a number. Live your life.
And I'd also like to add to that this morning, because we've taken several jokes behind the scenes about our age, at least Commissioner Batchelor and I have, and this is directed to Commissioner Painter this morning. I'd like to paraphrase for everyone President Reagan's, one of his wonderful quotes, but I'm really going to chop it up and give you a big paraphrase here. And I'm going to say that Commissioner Batchelor and I want everyone to know that we won't make an issue of Commissioner Painter's youth and inexperience. And we thank you for being with us this morning, and anything either one of you would like to say.
I would like to mention a couple of things. I certainly thank you for this really the honor of presenting this proclamation. You know, in May is Older Americans Month. It's been celebrated nationwide since 1963. And every year the commissioners join us in making this just a very special month. Generally speaking, we do our Senior Expo, which is hosted by Clermont Senior Services. And I do want to say that we've pushed it to October just for a safer time that we're all looking forward to. But we will be hosting the Senior Expo for area seniors to visit and to gain lots of resources from the community. And that will be Thursday, October the 7th at Crossroads. Crossroads East in Eastgate. But we do celebrate, and as Commissioner Corcoran said, older adults have built a resilience, and they have learned many lessons in their lives, and they've certainly built strength, and their stories and their contributions really help to support and to inspire others if we just stop long enough to listen. So we hope that you enjoy and are inspired by our next presentation that is a collaborative project between Clermont Senior Services and the Clermont County Public Library. And we really are about everyone seeking wisdom, history, and strength from the older adults in their lives. So I'd like to introduce really the lead for this powerful intergenerational project, and that is Chris Wick, the Executive Director of the Clermont County Public Library. And she, along with library staff and Clermont Senior Services staff, have created this, this video and this program encouraging you to find your inspiration with older adults.
Thank you, Cindy, and thank you to the commissioners for the proclamation. We all know how isolating and life-altering the pandemic has been for people, especially seniors. And I had this idea to partner with Clermont Senior Services on a project to promote engagement and community with seniors during the pandemic. And the two organizations, we did some brainstorming and decided Older Americans Month was a great fit. It is sponsored by the Administration on Aging, and this year's theme is Communities of Strength. And it has the following introduction, and we've heard some of these words already. Older adults have built resilience and strength over their lives through successes, failures, joys, and difficulties. Their stories and contributions help to support and inspire others. This Older Americans Month, we will celebrate the strength of older adults with special emphasis on the power of connection and engagement in building strong communities. To celebrate and support this year's theme, we came up with the idea to create a series of discussion questions that families and friends can share with each other. And I'm very thankful to the team of Library Adult Services staff who put the questions together. We made the questions into a brochure that will be available at all 10 of our library branches, at Clermont Senior Services, and other organizations that serve seniors across the county. I hope these questions spark an engaging dialogue that fosters respect and understanding and a caring for one another that builds support, resiliency, and community. And I believe there's a video queued up and ready to go. This May, the Clermont County Public Library and Clermont Senior Services are celebrating Older Americans Month. Connecting with others plays a vital role in our health, our well-being, and our community. From finding joy in sharing our stories to the gift of time spent with others, discover the ways in which we are connected. The library and Clermont Senior Services designed this program to spark conversation between generations. By learning about the life, struggles, and triumphs of older family members and friends, younger generations can be inspired by their strength and resilience. Pick up this conversation starter provided by the library and Clermont Senior Services. It's packed with 32 questions, guaranteed to spark some lively discussions.
How many of you remember the party line?
I've never heard of it. What is that?
That was a telephone line that had about 10 people on it, wasn't it? And it would ring, one long ring for me and maybe two short ones for her. And but they knew, everybody knew what was going on in the community.
This conversation starter is available at all 10 branches of the Clermont County Public Library and Clermont Senior Services Lifelong Learning Centers.
Thank you for the presentation this morning, and thank you for joining us on Zoom. We will get our proclamation out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great month. We have another proclamation this morning. And this is for the National Day of Prayer for May the 6th, 2021. And this is whereas the days of prayer have been called for since 1775, when the Continental Congress designated a time for prayer and forming a new nation. And whereas in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln signed a proclamation asking Americans to set aside April 30th as a day to confess national sins and to pray for clemency and forgiveness. And whereas such a day has been observed nationally since 1952, when Congress and President Harry S. Truman provided for a National Day of Prayer on which the people of the United States may turn to God and prayer and meditation. And whereas in 1988, President Ronald Reagan amended the law designating the first Thursday of May each year as the National Day of Prayer. And whereas Congress has called upon our citizens to reaffirm the role of prayer in our society, given the challenges we have experienced due to the coronavirus pandemic, we continue to seek restoration of health for our citizens through divine support and prayer. And whereas Clermont County is home to people who pray, seeking inspiration, strength, and guidance from God, and whereas the 2021 National Day of Prayer theme is Lord, pour out your love, life, and liberty. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the Board of the Clermont County Commissioners, do hereby designate the day of May 6, 2021 as the National Day of Prayer throughout Clermont County, and ask all of our citizens to celebrate their faith through prayer and reflect on our many blessings. And we express gratitude and recognize the need for prayer in our lives. And this is signed by myself, Claire B. Corcoran, President, David L. Painter, Vice President, and Bonnie J. Batchelor, Member. Also, I'd like to point out this morning that there is going to be a prayer walk at 7 o'clock p.m. this coming Thursday. It will be at the Helicopter Park in Union Township. If any of the citizens would care to join, we'd love to see you there. Thank you. Moving on with our agenda this morning, Mr. Bickford, you have an employee you would like to introduce. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. We have a new employee in the Board of County Commissioners.
The podium's yours.
Angie Levacy is our executive assistant with the Board of County Commissioners. She started this week. She comes to us from juvenile court, so she's been with the county for quite a while, so we're happy to have her here.
Angie, welcome to the board. Anything you'd like to say this morning?
I'm just really excited to be here. I've been a Clermont County employee for a long time, and I'm just excited to continue my career here. Thanks for having me.
And we're glad that Judge Schreiber gave you up. We're glad you're here. How about doing a picture?
He may not be happy, but...
No, but we're happy.
Angie, we're glad to have you. You know, I know you came over and interviewed with us one time before, and we're glad to add you to the team and looking forward to working with you. So thanks for coming.
Thanks so much.
How about a picture this morning?
Absolutely.
Let's do a
it.
picture. I get my chair moved.
I know.
Don't fall down the steps. Want to come in front? You want to join us, Mr. Rickman? Okay. No?
I don't want to ruin the picture.
Oh, no, that's true. Lovely with our masks on, right?
It is.
It is 3. And one more.
We're smiling.
We're good. We're all smiling. We are
smile.
smiling.
Everybody's smiling.
Angie, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. Next thing on our item is the consent agenda. Mr. Bickford, you wanted to make a comment this morning?
I do. I'd like for the board to know for the record that item number 4, Information Systems Department, there are 2 software and training packages listed. On the second one, which is Gov Connection Incorporated, is Know Before Security. This is going to be purchased out of CARES funds. With the way we now do email and everything else, it's we're trying to enhance our security to the next level. So this is a result of CARES money. So I just wanted to point that out for the record.
Great, thank you. Board, the consent agenda has been presented to us, and with the explanation of the use of CARES money for second item and number 4. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. I'd like to move item I, county staff and elected officials discussion, up before we go to non-consent agenda this morning. We have Mary Raines with us from the Office of Management and Budget. Good morning, Mary.
How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Hey, I'm here.
I hear you.
Happy to be here.
We're happy you are here.
I'm here to discuss the rates for the 9/11 system.
Okay.
We have a methodology that we generally do based on the number of dispatches and airtime usage by municipality, jurisdictions, and so forth. And it's based on the total operating costs of the comm center.
Okay.
Well, in 2020, we used almost $343,000 of CARES money to reduce the impact to the general fund. It still costs $2.5 million to run the comm center, but general fund was only impacted by about $2.2 million. So there's some issues and talk about. I just want to present to you some different options on how we bill, show you what it was for 2019 actuals that are being paid this year. The 2020 actuals will be paid next year by the jurisdictions. If we would bill as we normally do, take the total cost for the comm center, the rate per dispatch for public safety would be just under $10. So it'd be 9.99 cents per $9.99 per dispatch. The non-safety users would be just under $9 for dispatch and $1.11 per airtime minute. So that is allocating the $2.5 million that the comm center would be operating. That would result in the county picking up 79% of the costs, and the invoice to the other users would be about 21%. So that's using the methodology that we've historically used to allocate. And to give you some idea of that, last year we billed jurisdictions just under $456,000, and that was based on 2017 or 2019 actuals that were due this year. Okay, and so the county absorbed $1.9 million, so just about 81% to 19%. If we go with the total, we would bill departments, the other jurisdictions, $530,600. Now, if I take into consideration the CARES Act and reduce the comm center expenses and just strictly allocate the cost to the general fund for the comm center, that reduces it by just under $343,000. So instead of 2.5 being allocated, it's just under $2.2 million being allocated. So that's about, it's a $343,000 difference. That would bring the cost per public safety dispatch to $8.34 per dispatch. And the non-safety users of dispatch would be $7.34. and airtime minutes would be about $1.08. So the difference between the two in what we would bill to the users is $87,322. That would be from the $530,673 down to $443,352. So the extra money, that $87,000, would have to come from somewhere. It could either come from the general fund balance, or it could come from possibly other CARES Act monies that come into play. Another option that we could do is take the 2020 usage and hold at the 2019 rate. So the rate for public safety dispatchers would be $7.42. Non-safety would be $6.65, and airtime would be just about 75 cents a minute. So the total that would be billed to the users would be just under $394,000. That would compare to the adjusted rate, another $50,000 from the county, so it would be $137,000 that the county would be absorbing in costs in addition. So that would bring the split to 84.4% for the county and 15.6% for the comm center, or for the other users of the comm center. A couple things to consider before you make your decision. This, the way we do the allocation, the comm center provides OMB with the breakdown of the number of dispatches and the airtime usage by the entities, the jurisdictions. What we do is then run the report that shows the operating expenses of the comm center and break those down by what it would take to run that comm center if we only provided it for the sheriff. And we take that amount out. So we look at each individual expense and say, no matter who's doing this, we need this much for the sheriff. Mm-hmm. So that's taken out. An example would be the sheriff only of leads. Everybody else pays their own. Some of the other users that doesn't get allocated for the sheriff is the VHF paging system. That's strictly for fire departments. And then the mobile software maintenance is only for public safety users. So there's a lot that goes into it. Some costs that overlap, we do it on a percentage, and it's roughly 70-30. It may vary from year to year, but that's how we come down to it. Then the cost per dispatch is a division. It's just a financial calculation. So we get down to that. So the sheriff's dispatches are about 30% of the total, where the airtime is less than 40% of the total airtime. But then the cost allocation for the sheriff and the users is 75% roughly. So that's what it comes down to generally. We have to be careful of what rate you're using this year, because it's going to have a trickle effect. So right now, the rate was going from $7.42 to $9.98 if we did the whole amount. If we drop that down, then feasibly the following year, it's going to take a bigger jump. And just to give you an idea, 2.5 million was the 2020 operating. We budgeted $3.1 million in the comm center this year. So even if the calls are reduced or the usage is reduced, it still takes the same number of dispatchers. The maintenance is still the same. So there's costs that, even if it's lower cost to the lower number of calls or dispatches used,
The cost is still there.
the costs are still there, and you can't do anything with that. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at your options. a small amount this year and then a small amount next year, or, one of the other choices this year, and the following year is going to be a larger increase.
But the costs are based on the dispatches used, right?
Yes,
Like the
it's-
57,881 in 19.
Yep,
And then obviously the 20 dispatches were, almost 10,000 off, right?
right. There were a reduced number of dispatches.
So is going to the 7495, is that 7495 or 74,161? Is that based on the 49,000 dispatch or on the 57,881 dispatch?
It's based on 2020 dispatches, so it would be
Okay.
on the lower number of dispatches.
Which one of the things would
What
be
it is
that-
it just didn't change the rate.
Right,
The rate
dispatch numbers are
calculation
gonna
was
go-
based on,
But dispatch numbers will go up this coming year,
the rate
I would assume.
calculation was for the $7.42. That was based on the 2019 dispatches. But then what we did for this proposal, I guess, for this discussion, we used the amount that calculated based on the 2019 usage, but then applied that rate to the 2020 usage.
Okay. Okay,
So it was kind of a
hybrid.
It was a melding of different. So you go from if you're going to hold the rates, and again, the 742 is just strictly for the public safety government users. If you hold that and looking at the expenses between 2019 and 2020 increased just under 150,000. And if you're looking at an increase of 580,000 from 2020 to 2021, granted, they're not going to spend that much, but it's going to be an increase, definitely an increase. And if the uses even remain the same, you're looking at a larger increase for the cost to the entities. Then on the other hand, we applied CARES money, which is what reduced the general fund's impact by $343,000. Villages and townships received CARES money too. So we would be giving them the benefit of another $87,000 from the county's CARES money by using the adjusted rate, the adjusted expenses, or if you go down to the adjusted rate, you're giving them another $137,000 of the county's. Essentially, you're not giving it to them, but you're reducing their expenses by $137,000. So again, those monies that we would have are estimated in general fund as they're operating. So you'd have to make the choice then, do we use fund balance then to support the comm center next year for this amount, for the difference? Or do we find some other source and potentially the, the American Recovery Funds or something that might be available? So those are kind of things to start looking at. Of the $456,000 that we billed for this year, there's only $125,000 outstanding right now. So everybody's paying pretty much. We do have that past due balance of $81,000 for one township that's been difficult to collect. But other than that,
So the Delta Mary is 86,000, is that what we're talking?
it'd be $87,000 if you if you chose the second column, the 2020 total operating costs of $2.5 million. If that's the base, because that's what the normal would be. If everything was equal and we did it the same methodologies in the past, that would be the rate that would be charged. The difference, if we adjust the expenses down and just say, let's only allocate the expenses that general fund incurred, that's the difference of the 87.3.
Right, so that bill, that actual cost per dispatch should be about $8.96, right, for the 2020 total?
That would be 833.
833, okay. And then,
Versus
then if we held last year's, we're gonna be at 74, what?
742 based, and then again, on that first page, that's just strictly the governmental public safety users. So there's a different rate for the public safety dispatchers versus the non-public safety.
Yep.
But Mary, if you did that adjusted, then they're going to see a bigger cost the following year that may look even worse than what it would this year, because you're going to have to make up the difference then.
Right, that's what would be a concern, is if you give the break this year, and that's fine, because, you know, like I said, the townships and villages, they got CARES money too. But then the following year, that money may or may not be there, and you're going to have to jump up the rate more,
Right.
using the same methodology, taking that and seeing what it takes to run the comm center for the sheriff. And then there are quite a few users that we don't bill either. There's some, I don't know what it's called, Northwest Sims, because they provide the backup dispatching. So, you know, so there are users that are not invoiced.
This is just to talk about that, since we're having a discussion about it, this is one that you really got to think about. And the reason being is because when you bring the dispatch rate up into $9 or $8, eight something, then there's a tendency for people not to use dispatch. And then what happens is positive communications are not made by police officers that are in uniform prior to the entry. Because what people do is they use their cell phones. And then when things go awry in a safety situation, you're not in constant contact with dispatch. And I'll just give you, for instance, you can see that in many of the cases that are reviewed. If I'm in a small township, small village, and I tell my officers, hey, look, don't use that dispatch unless you really need to. And they walk into a situation where they make contact on the phone. I'm at such and such residence. I'm going to walk in. I'm going in right now. And something goes awry. Then someone has to try and make an emergency dispatch. They have to get in touch with dispatch then. When it's done previously or at this simultaneous time that it's occurring, then when something like that happens, you've got somebody in constant contact that can dispatch the services that they need. So making it too expensive to where it's not used or it's avoided by use, and Bonnie, you might be able to speak better than that than me, has big consequences.
Well, I will say this, having, been in the EMS service for many, many years, how important it is to be able to get a response if you're calling for additional help, or if you're put in a situation where you need a policeman to come and protect you or whatever. It is important. And we all know it is costly to man the communication center, but it's also could be an extreme cost on the safety of the people responding. But hopefully no one ever stoops to the level of thinking how much it's going to cost in their mind at that time. If you need help, you can't think it's going to cost me $8 or $9. You have to make that call. And I would hope any officer or medic, fireman out there wouldn't hesitate to use that radio to ask for additional help.
Yeah, and Clermont County's cost per is still quite a bit lower than Hamilton County.
Yes, it is.
But again, we're not asking for an answer today. We would like to have you adopt a rate so that we can send the breakdown to the departments or jurisdictions and entities for their tax budget that they're in the process of doing right now.
So they
that
know how much to,
for next year.
right.
So the usage, again, is 2 years in arrears. So 2020 will be paid in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I mean, there are so many different angles to look at it.
You
We
bet.
do not bill them for any of the capital. We're looking at doing another tower. We
Right.
don't allocate that. This is strictly the operating costs for the comm center.
And the cost for the sheriff is pulled out of there before that's even
Sheriff's-
determined.
Yep.
Right.
Sheriff's is pulled out, and generally, the rate was, in 2019, for the sheriff and other users, we paid almost 81% and only allocated 19% to other entities. Sheriff's runs right around 75, and then you throw those other pieces in there, picks up that difference.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Appreciate all the information.
Yeah, need anything else, just across the hall?
We know where you are.
That's right.
We got you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you so much. Any other,
This is something that, it would be nice, Greg, to communicate to the townships and to the villages and cities, the actual users that use this, is what the projected increases could be, and then gain some feedback from them? I mean, would that,
We can do that. I think.
I mean, we know where our budget has lacked, where it's come to intergovernmental and those type of things. I don't know where townships' budgets have lacked, and is this going to place them in a real tough situation? I mean, typically, in the time that I've been here, we've tried to drive that rate down. I think we were successful in driving it all the way down to $6 and something at one time. And trying to $6.60. We try to make it as affordable for them, so that, for that reason, Bonnie, so that they'll use it. That they will make that contact and be as safe as possible. No question about that.
Greg, could this be something that a representative could go to the Chiefs Association, one of their meetings, a monthly meeting, and present this?
Yeah, and John's on the line. John Cascaden may have some ideas on how to disseminate this information, but one thing to take into consideration, some of this overage, like Mary said, is either going to be fund balance, or there is, and we don't know the exact amount yet as money comes back from the 2020 CARES Act. There's a percent that may be covered by that as well, so that's still kind of to be determined.
Yes.
Once the board decides on how they want to move forward with the rate structure, then we can figure out the financial side of it from that aspect. But John Cascaden may have some insights on how to disseminate the information and get some feedback.
morning, John.
Hi, John.
Morning.
Morning, John.
It's actually good timing because tomorrow is the police chief's monthly meeting. I can take this information to that meeting tomorrow morning. Get their feedback. The fourth Thursday of every month is the fire chief's meeting, so I can also attend that, which I do every month anyway, and see what kind of feedback we get from it.
Okay.
John, any insight there as far as user concerns that we had? Any superior knowledge there from you as far as how to really put these costs together? It does. Do you see the amount of dispatching going up as we come out of this pandemic back to the over 50,000 user level, or where are you at?
But what I've always explained to the chiefs is that the operating cost is the operating cost, as you stated earlier. That's not going to change. So if the difference between the sheriff's allocation and the user's allocation is $600,000, it doesn't matter if you have, 50,000 calls or 20,000 calls. That number has to be recovered. So that's, formula is the formula, and it doesn't change the amount that has to be recovered. So, and we have in the past, prior to me coming here, we were up to $13 a call at one time. So we've really kept the cost down.
And as the cost of that service goes up, obviously some of those variable costs like hourly rates and those kind of things that do increase over time, does that 600,000 become 610,000 or some other number?
Well, it's operating costs. So as your operating cost goes up, your employee costs, your insurance is the big cost. Benefits really jack up the cost. That has to be recovered because that's the formula that we work on today. I know that in the past, the feedback that I get from the Chiefs Association is that they would like to come up with some formula so there is no fees, but we've never had that occur. So.
Okay.
And you talked about not wanting to use the system because of the cost.
Yes.
I can tell you there are agencies out there today that tell their officer, which is totally insane, if you make a traffic stop, because a traffic stop is a call for service, don't call it in. And I've had conversation with those chiefs. They have placed a great amount of liability upon their department, and by putting that out there, they've certainly placed their officers in jeopardy. And if something occurs, it'll be brought forward.
Appreciate that. I thought that would be a concern. I had also heard that concern. So thank you.
Thank you, John. We'll get back with you in a minute because you're on the agenda later on.
Yes, thank you.
We're moving now to the non-consent agenda, item F. We move to page 4, item number 9. It's a recommendation of the Board of County Commissioners to adopt resolution number 060-21, resolving to approve payment to vendors in the total amount of $1,472,818.67 as set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated May the 5th, 2021, BCC directed prepaid invoices report, and the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on May the 3rd, 2021, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for same pursuant to section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes. Item number 10. Lyle Bloom, are you with us this morning?
Yes, I am.
Good morning.
Morning. Item number 10 is a recommendation to execute a contract for professional services between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County and Ohio Valley Environmental Engineering Incorporated, doing business as Environmental Engineering Service out of New Richmond, Ohio, for pre-construction and construction phase services for project number 6402-60171 relative to the 9-mile wastewater treatment plant improvements project located in Pierce Township, and in accordance with the consultant's proposal dated March 31st, 2021, for a total amount not to exceed $51,325, with said services to be completed within 365 consecutive calendar days. Upon issuance of a written notice to proceed from the Clermont County Water Resources Department, exclusive of county review time, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and contingent upon the release of the necessary purchase order. This project is currently out for bid. The bids are scheduled to be open May 27th. So this will just assist with the construction of the project.
Board, you've heard the reading and for contract for professional services and the contents as provided by Lyle Bloom. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes. Item number 11. Lyle Bloom.
Item number 11 is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 061-21, resolving to determine to make improvements relative to the construction, operation, and maintenance of the BMW Flockseed Basins 1 and 2 and lake intake structure evaluation, rehabilitation, and painting project located in Batavia Township and designated as project number 6401-60175 in conformance with the specifications and estimates of cost and financing, as herein ratified and confirmed, all of which shall be paid from one or more of any combination of the Waterworks Capital Improvement Fund, any portion of any federal or state grant or loan should such become available, and or by the issuance of notes or bonds pursuant to section 133.08 of the Ohio Revised Code and payable from revenues derived from water rates and charges levied for the operation of the Clermont County Waterworks System and subsequent thereto, to approve the request to advertise for bids pursuant to the specifications, and to authorize the clerk of the board to place a legal notice in a newspaper of general circulation on Thursday, May 13th, 2021, schedule a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on Wednesday, May 19th, 2021 at 10 a.m. with bids to be received until 2:00 p.m. local time on Thursday, June 3rd, 2021 in the office of the Board of County Commissioners, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, where they will be publicly open and read aloud shortly thereafter, and the legal notice will also be posted on the county's website. So the engineer's estimate for this work is $692,600. This will consist of the reapplication of coatings and rehabilitation of a lot of the steel on the flock sed basins at the water treatment plant and of the intake structure for the Bob McCune water treatment plant. All that work was originally constructed in 1994.
Thank you, Board. You've heard the reading of item number 11 as presented by Lyle Bloom, and to adopt resolution number 061-21, and this is designated as project number 6401-60175. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Thank you, Lyle. Item number 12, John Cascaden.
Good morning again.
Good morning again.
Morning.
Item 12, on my recommendation with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to execute extension number 3 to the contract for services for the HVAC maintenance and repair services for HVAC equipment located at Clermont County Tower sites by and between the Board of County Commissioners and Peck and Hanford Briggs Service Corporation, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on May 11th, 2016, amended on August 3rd, 2016, August 17, 2016, January 31st, 2018, and extended by extension number 1 executed on April 17, 2019. Extension number 2 is executed on May 6, 2020, with said extension number 3 to exercise the third and final option to extend for an additional period of 1 year through May 10th of 2022 pursuant to Article 14 of the contract for services at an estimated annual cost of $9,888 plus any additional repairs as needed, with all terms and conditions set forth in the original contract for services, amended extensions thereto to remain in full force and effect and contingent upon the release and receipt of the purchase order required therefore in concert with requisition number 00002317-00 dated April 7th, 2021 relative thereto.
Board, you heard the reading of item number 12, and this is for contract services for that maintenance and repair services for the HVAC equipment located at the Clermont County Tower sites. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Item number 13, Michael McNamara. Good morning.
Morning,
Morning.
Commissioners.
Morning.
Michael McNamara, Director of Community and Economic Development. This is a recommendation of Michael McNamara, Director, Department of Community and Economic Development, Building Inspection Department, with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to approve the intergovernmental agreement for professional services by and between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County, Ohio, and the City of Centerville, 100 West Spring Valley Pike, Centerville, Ohio 45458, for the provision of services relative to plans examination and inspections for projects submitted and to serve as backup, as required by the Ohio Board of Building Standards, effective upon execution through 12/31/2022, pursuant to the terms and conditions set forth therein and contingent upon the release and receipt of the purchase order required therefore in concert with requisition number 00002194-00 dated 3/29/2021 relative thereto.
Board, do I have a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement for professional services with the City of Centerville, and this is for the provision of services relative to plans, examination, and inspections. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning
Thanks,
to you.
Mike.
Item number 14, Gary Caudell, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Item 14 is a recommendation of Terry Brandenburg, Human Resource Coordinator, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Igo, County Administrator, to amend the Board of County Commissioners Personal Policies and Procedures Manual, Section 3.08, titled Drug and Alcohol Testing for Revenue Transportation, attached thereto and made a part of thereof, effective upon approval, and further to authorize the Human Resource Department to update the appropriate internet links and appendices accordingly.
Board, you've heard the reading with the request to amend the Board of County Commissioners Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, Section 3.08, titled Drug and Alcohol Testing for Revenue Transportation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes, thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Item number 15, Mr. Bickford, or
that one.
Rui.
Holly, thank
This
you.
will be the recommendation of Thomas J. Igo, County Administrator, to reappoint the following individuals to serve as members on the District 10 Public Works Integrating Committee as representatives and alternates for the County of Clermont, Ohio, for the term beginning on June 1st, 2021, and ending May 31st, 2024, pursuant to Section 16404 of the Ohio Revised Code. Our initial member will be Michael McNamara, Greg Bickford as his alternate. Lyle Bloom is a reappointment as well, with his alternate as Chris Rowland.
Board, you've heard the recommendation to reappoint the following individuals to serve as members on the District 10 Public Works Integrating Committee as noted. Michael McNamara, and the alternate would be Greg Bickford, and Lyle Bloom's member. Alternate would be Chris Rowland. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes. Item number 16. Mr.
that one.
Bickford?
Yeah, it's a recommendation to execute the renewal of the contract for services for the county with Millennium Business Systems located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Contract was previously ratified by the board on 5/9 of 2018 for the provision of services for the replacement, maintenance, and repair of copy machines for Clermont County departments and offices at a cost per page rate as specified in Exhibit A, attached here to and made part of, effective for the period of 5/15/21 through 5/14/22, with which exercises the first of two available renewal options pursuant to Article 2 of the original agreement, with all other terms and conditions of the original contract to remain in full force and effect.
Board, you've heard the recommendation to execute the renewal of contract services with Millennium Business Systems. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes. Item number 17, Mary Raines, welcome back.
Item 17 is a request to increase the annual appropriation for 2021. There are a couple retirements in the general fund for the sheriff's investigators and civil division. Investigators is $18,755, and the civil is $11,904.74. Workforce Investment Act, other expenses, $200,000, and the CTC capital improvement expenses of $176,000.
Board, you've heard the recommendation to resolve and to approve and authorize changes in the annual appropriation resolution number 191-20 for calendar year 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Item G now is additions to the agenda. Mr. Bickford, do we have any additions this morning to the agenda?
Yes, we do. We have two for your consideration. The first one is an add-on to implement the final decision of the Court of Common Pleas, which was issued on April 2nd, 2021, for case number 2019 CVF 0026, as it relates to the petition for annexation for Owensville. That's your first requested add-on. Second requested add-on would be to modify the motion for executive session to include discipline. So it would be executive session pursuant to section 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment, discipline, or compensation of a public employee or more public employees.
We'll do the first edition. Do I have a motion this morning to add the resolution, the Owensville Resolution 062-21 to implement the final decision entry of the Court of Common Pleas? Do I have a motion to add that this morning to the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Mr. Ramus, this morning, you're here to present on this, please. Good morning, Counselor.
This is a presentation of a resolution pursuant to the order of the Court of Common Pleas, Clermont County, Ohio, in case number 2019 CVF 020026, issued on April 2nd, 2021. It would be appropriate for the Board of County Commissioners to adopt a resolution resolving to approve the petition for annexation in the matter of the proposed annexation of territory adjacent to the village of Owensville in Clermont County, state of Ohio, in the amount of 96.7449 acres, filed with the Board of County Commissioners on August 20th, 2018, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 709.02.
Board, you've heard the reading of this proposal this morning presented by Mr. Ramus of the Prosecutor's Office. And this is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 062-21, resolving to approve the petition for annexation in the matter of the proposed annexation of territory adjacent to the village of Owensville in Clermont County, Ohio, in the amount of 96.7449 acres, filed with the Board of County Commissioners on August 20th, 2018, pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code Section 709.02. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Thank
Thanks,
you, Mr.
Ernie.
Ramus. We have a second add-on this morning, and
That's correct. It's to modify a motion for executive session to include the word discipline.
okay. Board, do I have a motion to add a modification to executive session this morning to add the word discipline to our executive session pursuant to section 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to include the word discipline?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Now we're going to ask to go into executive session under item H. And this is a motion to go into executive session pursuant to 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment, discipline, or compensation of a public employee or more public employees. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes, we will return shortly after we finish with executive session. Thank you. We returned from executive session. No decisions were made. We're now going back to our regular agenda this morning. Mr. Bickford, do we have any additions this morning to the agenda?
I believe Mr. Hott has some additions for your consideration.
Thank you. Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning. I believe it actually is afternoon finally.
Oh, yes, it sure is.
We do have 2 personnel actions that I'd like to request the board add on.
Okay. Do we want to add them individually or
We
just
can
do a
do that.
motion?
We can do them all at once.
Do them all at once? Okay. I need a motion to add 2 personal actions this morning as presented by Sandra Todd of the Human Resources Department. Do I have a motion to add those to the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Now we'll do the first one.
The first personnel action is with the Department of Community and Economic Development. for Jimmy Hoskins, Building Inspector 1, a new hire, effective May 17th, 2021.
Board, you've heard the reading of the request to hire Jimmy Hoskins this morning, effective May the 17th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Sandy, I understand that all the prerequisites have been conducted and taken care of for this personnel hire?
Yes, sir, they have.
Okay, thank you.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
The second personnel action is with the Department of Job and Family Services. Jessica Fitzgerald, clerical specialist, administrative leave, disciplinary with pay, effective today, May 5th, 2021.
Board, you've heard the reading of personnel action of discipline with Department of Job and Family Services for administrative leave effective May 5th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes. Thank you. Any other additions?
That is all.
Thank you very much. We will move on now to member comments. Members, any comments this morning?
You know, one of the things we might want to talk about today and, have a general conversation about is, I know there's been not lots of concern, but lots of conversation recently for mask usage and whether that continues to be appropriate or not. I thought might be something that we would like to talk about today and maybe make some comments about. As you're seeing in national media, and I know close here in our local counties about school boards making decisions as to eliminate mask usage and those kind of things. Obviously, we are in that position here at Clermont County. One of the things I wanted to just talk about this morning was the fact that, we are an employer, and an employer of personnel is in a little different position when it comes to COVID-19 compliance and those kind of things. The fact that we wear a mask is centered from sending a message from the top to our employees here at Clermont County. Obviously, we fall under the OSHA regulations, 1910 and 1926, that requires that we comply with the general duty clause, that we are to ensure that Clermont County employees work in a safe environment and that they're protected from hazards that could affect their health and well-being. OSHA has penned guidelines as to COVID-19. There are many things in those OSHA guidelines that talk about time, distance, and shielding, the need for washing your hands frequently, the need to stay distant from people, that 6 foot limited distance, and the fact that we model the mask usage here in Clermont County sends a message, to the employees that we are we believe in compliance and that they should take whatever precautions that they need to protect themselves from COVID-19. In addition to that, not only do we have a general duty, but keep in mind there is a liability here in Clermont County when it comes to workplace hazards, and that we've continued to provide that compliance to make sure that we limit our liability and the taxpayers' liability as to claims against non-compliance. We're coming very quickly down to a situation where there was a House bill that was put forth here in Ohio that limits the governor's ability to continue a pandemic or directive such as this, for indoor compliance of mask usage. Obviously, that was approved by the House and approved by the Senate, and then was overturned, vetoed by the governor, and then it was overridden. And obviously, that'll become law, I believe, in 90 days. And then there'll be a time when the House legislation can actually act on this. So don't know what your comments are about that. Be great to have a discussion about it this morning if you have some.
I would say right now that we're following the guidelines that are in place. And until that changes, I think we have a duty to follow those guidelines. I think we're all tired of wearing these. Nobody, I mean, I've had enough of it, but I'm doing what right now stands a law until it is overturned, that we are to wear these if we're inside. And as you said, Commissioner Painter, I think we're setting an example, the three of us, for the other employees of the county. I know there are a lot of people out there that are opposed to this. They're opposed to having to wear them if you go into a restaurant, but there again, those places of business do not want to be shut down if they're not enforcing those laws. So until something else is done, we have to respect what we've been told we have to do as, you know, owners of restaurants or businesses, or as commissioners of the county.
A big difference between what you do as an employer and obviously for your employees versus what you can do. I mean, I always give OSHA compliance kind of a thing that's, you know, you're an employer and you put people out mowing grass, you have to put proper PPE on them. They can't mow grass in tennis shoes. You know, they have to wear I was just going to get to that. I was just going to get to that. Because if you don't provide them the proper protective equipment, then you're basically in violation. When you're at home, like Commissioner Corcoran just stated, you can wear gym shoes mowing, and that is a risk that you take. You know, and that's okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You're obviously not going to file a workman's comp claim for being at home. You know, you will file one if
You never
you
know.
hurt you. Right.
Well, Commissioners, at the very beginning of wearing these masks, that's why I asked for the prosecutor's opinion. We received the prosecutor's opinion as to what we had to do. And again, when a final decision is made, and hopefully sooner than 90 days, we will again ask the prosecutor for an opinion, and we will then follow that. So any further discussion this morning?
None.
Okay, hearing none, do we have anything else added to the agenda this morning?
No, ma'am.
Nothing. Thank you. Then I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes, thank you for joining us today. It's Cinco de Mayo Day. It's May the 5th, 2021. See you next time.
You bet.